The Indianapolis 500 is a tradition. Since 1911, drivers from all over the globe have come to claim the spoils of victory that begin with a drink of milk and end with immortality on racing's most prized trophy. The Indianapolis 500 is innovation. New designs, faster cars, conditioned drivers, and a state-of-the-art facility constantly push the sport and the event to new heights. For 1 month every year, tradition and innovation become one, and everything old is new again. The Indianapolis 500 is the best of both worlds.
Good morning, race fans.
Tom Carnegie is one of those Indy traditions. Since 1946, Carnegie's deep voice has resonated through the Speedway's public address system. 2005 marks his 60th May at the Brickyard. The Indy 500 takes on a new look both on the calendar and on the surface. Rookie orientation kicks off a retooled May schedule. A crop of 6 rookies from varied racing backgrounds are given 2 days to prove they can handle the tricky 2.5-mile oval.
I love it. It's one of the most beautiful places I've been on. It's a beautiful track. It's a long track, but man, it's fun. And when there's going to be people for the race, it's probably amazing. But already it's an amazing experience.
The darling of the rookie class is Danica Patrick. The 5'2" freshman proves a quick study and stands ready to make history.
If you do something silly or if you have a mistake or something breaks, it's a big crash. I think that's why this track is so different, because you really are going fast.
In the off-season, the famed oval received a facelift, repaved and smoothed with over 19,000 tons of race-ready asphalt. Even the historic yard of bricks at the start-finish line were refurbished with authentic bricks from the original construction, a tribute to the past and the future of the Brickyard.
This is the fastest track on the schedule, and it has, like I say, the fast closing rate and the most narrow margin of error. You guys have all been here. I know I'm just reiterating this to remind you that this is the most precise racetrack you have to run. It is dependent on all the little things. The little things matter the most around here. Make sure your car is right and trust your instincts when you're driving around the place. It requires extreme concentration, focus, respect, and most importantly, patience.
The veterans hit the track on Tuesday, and no one is hotter than Dan Wheldon, a winner in 3 of the first 4 races of 2005.
I would just love to win the Indianapolis 500 once. I mean, I'd love my face on the Borg Warner Trophy, and we're going to do all we can to try and make that happen. But, you know, it's one of those races where everything's got to go absolutely right in order to do it. I mean, Buddy Rice did such a good job last year. I mean, that'll be a difficult year to top. He won the pit stop competition, got the pole, and won the race. I'd just be happy with winning the race, and we'll see if we can do that, but there's a long way to go yet.
Dan's teammate is 2004 IndyCar Series champ Tony Kanaan. With a 3rd and a 2nd in prior years at Indy, Kanaan will be happy with nothing less than 1st place on May 29th. Team Penske is always a threat at Indy. 2-time champ Helio Castroneves celebrated his 30th birthday with cake and the proper attire.
Happy birthday, dear Helio. Happy birthday to you.
Yellow light, we've got a crash.
And against the wall. Yellow light.
Defending champ Buddy Rice's hopes of a 500 repeat are dashed after contact in turn 2. The incident sidelines Rice for the rest of the month.
We're not sure what caused it. We're not sure of the situation exactly, but when you're running around concrete walls, even though we're running the safer barrier, which helps, I mean, a tremendous amount, all the safety gear we have, I mean, these things are going to happen.
Danica Patrick picks up the pace for her injured teammate and sets quick time in practice, making her the first woman to top a day's speed chart at Indy.
I know that it's not over by any means. I think I have to stay grounded a little bit and stay a little bit humble and stay a little bit, you know, just kind of quiet and just knowing that things can change very quickly.
In addition to AGR and Rahal Letterman, there is power in numbers up and down pit road. Teams like Ganassi, Fernandez, and Panther upgrade to 3-car efforts. The experience of 1996 champ Buddy Lazier give both Panther and Chevy a much-needed boost.
every time we go out, we're gaining speed and we're learning something. So we've collected a lot of data, and all that data we can apply now to go even quicker. I think this team has some of the absolute best racing intellect or engineers, and I'm really enjoying working with them.
Lazier's teammate Thomas Schechter notches a lap over 227.8 miles an hour, showing that all three engine builders are contenders for the pole.
Yellow, yellow, crash, crash, yellow. We're under yellow again for an accident in turn 2. Wheldon involved along with Sam Hornish Jr. A dramatic flip involving Sam Hornish Jr. The car went airborne, did a complete flip, landed on its side, came to a stop upside down.
Paul Dana's injuries will keep him out of the 500, but despite the wild ride, Hornish walks away unhurt.
Came around the corner there and there's debris everywhere, trying to make our way through it. It was actually, pretty gentle rollover, as far as my opinion goes. I guess it could have been a lot worse.
Team President Tim Cindric manages to find a historic silver lining for his disappointed driver.
I did tell him, though, as I said, Rick Mears got upside down Friday before pole day one time and put it on the pole, so maybe there's a little bit of karma there.
Rain ends the first week of practice early, but the new track surface has already sent speed soaring, and most competitors are turning laps faster than last year's pole speed. The race for the pole is wide open. The rains that shortened Fast Friday stay and put a damper on the high expectations of pole day. The debut of brand new qualification procedures in Indy will have to wait one more day. Low clouds hang around on a cool, wet Sunday morning, but the rain showers are moving on, leaving the newly paved 2.5-mile oval a clean slate for an assault on the pole. Morning practice speeds are blistering. Many drivers are turning their fastest laps of the month. Practice ends on a historic note as Danica Patrick sets fast speed at 229.880, fast for the month and the fastest lap ever turned in practice by a female driver at the Speedway. Everyone can feel the energy. Pole Day 2005 comes with new twists on a grand old tradition. Under the new qualifying rules, 11 cars are allowed a spot in the field on each of the first 3 qualifying days. Yesterday's pole day rainout means that only 22 cars will be allowed in the field today. After that, bumping will begin. But 2 changes have every team reworking their strategies and pole day contingencies. The most significant is the chance to re-qualify a car that has already made the field. The second rule change allows every car 3 qualification chances per day. First on the track to qualify is Scott Sharp in the Delphi Automotive Machine. Sharp has had a good week of practice and should prove a worthy target to aim at.
He's on it. And here we go. And the checker slide, 227.126 miles an hour. Scott Sharp becomes our very first qualifier.
He's 2 miles an hour off the best morning practice speeds, but consistent with his own personal best. Sam Hornish Jr. is next out for Team Penske after running laps in excess of 228 miles an hour earlier in the day. Expectations run high.
225.847 miles an hour.
The run is not what Team Penske was hoping for.
Car handled well, just not enough horsepower. We're out there, trimmed out as much as we can be. As much or more than anybody else. We wish that we could have been a little bit quicker, but it's part of the deal. That's how it goes.
Hornish could be the first test of the new qualification rules. The team knows there is more in the car.
You have to see where we're at and all that kind of good stuff, but it's really a tough thing to do to pull your car out unless you think you can move up, 2 rows. But I doubt we'll pull it out if we don't get any practice time.
Tony Kanaan is next off the line, and he has been lightning quick all month.
And Kanaan is on the run. The checkered flag flies, and he has qualified. The average speed, 227.566 miles an hour.
It's good enough to put him on the pole, but the day is very young. Kanaan has a long wait ahead of him.
I think it was a good run. Could be a little better, but I'm happy with it. So we'll see what we're gonna do. Let's see what's gonna happen. A lot of things can happen right now, so still 5.5 hours left.
Some indication of where speeds are going to settle comes as the next four drivers start to fill in the field. None approach the pole speed, and Kanaan's 227.5 starts to look like the speed to beat. But all eyes are soon focused on one driver.
I wanted to see myself on pole, so, I'm going to do whatever I think is right and what the team thinks is right.
Hell of a job this week. Let's keep it smooth and precise. Put her in the same spot on the track.
With words of encouragement from Brian Barnhart, Danica Patrick rolls out to qualify. Newfound fans across the nation are waiting to see if she can handle the pressure of qualifying at Indy.
Oh, we take a look. Warm-up lap number 2 for Danica Patrick at 223.856 as she begins her run. Jerry Baker, you saw a little bit of a problem there in turn number 1.
Just as she exited turn 1, number 1, Mike, the back end of that car sort of jiggled over just a little bit. That's going to slow her down. It was not a good exit out of turn 1.
It's a 4-lap average of 227.004. Had it not been for the bobble in turn number 1, we may be talking about Danica Patrick as the provisional pole sitter here.
Patrick's opinion of her own performance is obvious. The 16 car could be on the pole.
I know it's in the car. I really do. I would love to try it again and go for it. Heck, the only thing that could happen from here is I'd hit the wall.
And trouble. He makes contact with the left rear. Ryan Briscoe is up against the outer retaining wall. Two-time champion of the Indianapolis 500. Elio Castroneves.
Castroneves turns in 4 quick laps just to tick off Kanaan's pole mark. Roger Penske has to be considering withdrawing Hornish's first run for a shot at the pole.
Now the games begin. Let's see.
Despite Kanaan's fast time, Andretti Green Racing seems to have missed the setup for the rest of the team as Brian Herta fails to impress and Dario Franchitti waves off his first qualifying run. Buddy Lazier is next to roll out and immediately proves his worth. The 1996 Indy 500 champ brings his new ride home with what will prove to be the fastest Chevy in the field.
For the conditions, it was a good run. I hate to get greedy, but I wanted a little more.
Now AGR engineers get their next test to see if they've rediscovered the key to speed on the unforgiving 2.5-mile oval. Dan Wheldon is a favorite to win the pole.
Dan Wheldon's speed, 224.308 miles an hour.
I'm obviously very disappointed. We started the month off May very strong, and like I say, we've slowly worked our way slower and slower and slower, and there's no good reason for it. And that's what we've got to look into and try and find out why. So we're going to do that because Indy's too special to me to sit on a time like that.
By mid-afternoon, 19 drivers are qualified, including Patrick Carpentier. As the slowest qualifier so far, he will be the first ever bumped from a pole day field. Quicker is the quietly consistent Vitor Meira, who puts a second Rahal Letterman machine safely in the show.
We could have made it a little better, but again, let's go back to the garage, talk and decide if we're going to go out again.
As the track goes green for practice, the new qualifying format kicks into high gear as teams weigh their positions on the grid against the odds of sitting on the pole at Indy.
I think we'll practice a little bit with Danica and Vitor and see if, she's pretty convinced she can go quicker. She wants to give it a go, so we'll see.
Well, I think that's a risky thing right now. We're probably not going to have the ability to get the pole, so what you really want to try to do is have a good car and be ready for the race, not make a mistake.
By mid-afternoon, Roger Penske has a change of heart and is the first to test the new qualifying rules. He withdraws Sam Hornish Jr.'s first run and sends the number 6 car back out to knock Kanaan off the pole.
Checkered flag waving for Sam Hornish Jr. Did he do it?
He did not. 227.243, but it does put him in the middle of the front row. After turning a few laps of practice, the decision is made not to send Danica Patrick out to requalify.
I'm glad we got it over, yeah. She's been running so good, you kind of you're crossing your fingers, but everything's good.
With 1 hour left on pole day, the action starts to heat up. Jacques Lazier squeaks into the field as the 22nd qualifier. After his wave-off earlier in the day, Dario Franchitti turns in 4 laps at better than 226 miles an hour, guaranteed to make the field. But Michael Andretti wants more.
Dario Franchitti's car, which just qualified minutes ago at 226.475 miles an hour, has been withdrawn, and they will attempt to re-qualify.
Okay, all our rules again apply, but you will start your 3rd and final attempt of the day on this car.
Thank God.
All right.
With less than 20 minutes left in pole day, Franchitti's final run improves 1 spot on the grid. Not the improvement Michael Andretti is looking for, but enough to whet the appetite of Roger Penske. In the waning minutes of pole day, he takes a gamble on Helio Castroneves for a chance to win a coveted pole at Indy.
Checkered flag. Where is he? He lost a spot by that maneuver. Danica Patrick gains a spot.
As the pole day gun fires, Tony Kanaan breathes a sigh of relief, and the AGR crew celebrates winning the pole for the 89th running of the Indianapolis 500.
It feels very good, and I don't know what to say, I'm speechless, but it was a tough day, it was a long day, I'm ready to go to bed.
The Speedway celebrates a new tradition, as the changes in qualifying bring new thrills to the excitement of pole day in Indianapolis. Drivers and crews get back to the grind of practice after pole day as qualified teams work on race setups and those looking to make the field continue searching for speed. But the big news of the day is the return of a champion.
Well, we were very disappointed in finding out that Buddy would not be cleared, and we understand fully why. Certainly we support the doctors. I just thought it somehow right that I called my friend Mr. Brack up and asked if he'd be ready to fill in.
Well, you know, I don't think a Hollywood film producer could have come up with a script better than this one.
Brack is joined for an on-track refresher course by 4-time Indy veteran Jimmy Kite. Kite replaces the injured Paul Dana in the number 91 Himmelgarn entry. And a famous name echoes through the stands as Arie Luyendyk Jr. becomes the 7th rookie for this May's race.
No, I'm focused. Yesterday just kind of threw me out there to get my first phase done. That was a little bit intimidating because I had to deal with, being out there with a lot of traffic. But, it's just all about getting miles in the car, and then it just all comes together.
By week's end, Brack is turning laps as if he'd never missed a race. And Dan Wheldon returns to form after a disappointing pole day. He and pole sitter Tony Kanaan dominate the speed chart for week 2. It's the 2nd day of qualifying, and 11 spots remain to fill the field. Ryan Briscoe is eager to put his pole day accident behind him and turns in a solid speed. He'll start from the 8th row.
Oh, it's unreal. I mean, it's amazing, this race. I mean, we've been here for 2 weeks already, and everyone's just so excited.
After being bumped on pole day, Patrick Carpentier's struggle for speed continues as he makes light wall contact trying to re-qualify.
Woo! Tick the wall at the south end of the track.
Kenny, welcome back.
Thank you.
Sorry it's under these circumstances, but I'm sure you'll represent Ray Hall Letterman and the Speedway well, filling in for our defending champion. It's always nice to have a former winner here, and it's certainly great to welcome you back to the family.
It's a satisfying return for the former Indy champ after being out of a car since his horrific crash over 18 months ago.
Let's take a look. 4th lap for Kenny Brack. Look at that, 227.580, and he will be the fastest car in the field.
Kenny Brack's electrifying return steals the day as the field grows to 32 cars. 1 spot remains, and it's being claimed by Arie Luyendyk Jr. as the only other car driver combination to take to the track this month. But the rumor mill is churning as another Indy tradition plays out. Drivers with helmet bags in hand are roaming Gasoline Alley looking for that last-minute ride.
Not really right now. No, it doesn't. It doesn't look so good right now. We'll see.
Armed Forces Day ceremonies are over by the time Arie Luyendyk Jr. rolls out to qualify. The Curb Records crew has been chasing an ill-handling car and are eager to see if their changes have helped.
Here he comes. The checkered flag is flying, and he did it. He did it. He is qualified.
Luyendyk Jr. fills the field as the slowest qualifier. But the celebration is short-lived with the arrival of a 34th driver in pit lane. A.J. Foyt has pulled an ace out of his sleeve and called up Indy veteran Felipe Giafoni to pilot a third Foyt car. It's Felipe's first laps in the car all month. But if he can find the speed, he could find himself in the greatest spectacle in racing. It takes the cool Brazilian just 15 laps to find enough speed to challenge the young Luyendyk for a spot in the 500. The Curb Records crew must find some answers fast.
Arie Luyendyk Jr. coming out of one of the turns had quite a moment there.
It's not looking good. Time is slipping away, and Giafoni is ready to roll.
And about, 4 hours ago, he didn't even have a ride.
He was at a
He was at
mall.
a shopping center.
That's right, yeah.
I think at 1:30 when he got the call, they said, you might want to get down here because there might be an opportunity for you.
Well, here they come off of turn number 4. Felipe Giafoni in the Foyt Racing machine. This will be the 4th and final lap, and he will bump Arie Luyendyk Jr. at 5:42 in the afternoon here in Indianapolis.
Jubilation is replaced with anxiety as the young rookie, with literally seconds left to qualify, pulls out for one last bonsai run. The concern shows.
He's got to find 0.6 of a second per lap. That's a ton.
And the goal of being in his very first Indianapolis 500 is lost.
Well, obviously it would have been nice to qualify for the race, but I didn't, so I'm going to come back next year and I'm going to just haul ass right from the moment I get in the car, because that's what you have to do here.
The joy and heartbreak of Bump Day will live with the young Luyendyk for a long time to come.
The experience there is definitely something he can use in the future.
In the week leading up to the 500, the 2.5-mile oval takes a well-earned breather as the world is introduced to the 33 drivers competing in the greatest spectacle in racing. They are joined in Times Square by the 2005 honorary pace car driver, former Secretary of State Colin Powell, and the Borg-Warner Trophy making its first return to the Big Apple since its unveiling in 1936. The next few days are filled with driver and sponsor events across the country. The national media spotlight is turned on the drivers, and it burns hot on the fastest rookie in the field. The press has coined it Danica Mania.
The Indianapolis 500 drivers held a big media blitz in New York City, which was thoroughly dominated by Danica Patrick, their designated hottie. In 21 hours, Danica did 27 TV interviews, 5 radio shows, and more than a dozen interviews with print media outlets.
What's this? Is this a picture or an interview? But it's still a media story, and I understand that. But most of all, make sure that, I'm able to stay focused. Thank you. I'm tired. I promise you that.
How you doing?
Here I am, boss.
Nice to see you.
I'm out to win
Yeah,
this
I know.
weekend.
This is going to be so cool. I'm so excited about this.
But even though there's no activity on the track Wednesday, the Speedway throws open its gates for Community Day. The all-day festival has grown bigger each year as fans come out to meet their favorite drivers and Speedway heroes. Carburation Day is another tradition at the Speedway that gets a new look and a new day in 2005. Originally designed as the final practice on the Thursday before the race, Carb Day 2005 moves to Friday and has grown to a day filled with on- and off-track activities.
Here's a replay. Watch the video boards. Coming out of 4. You see him making contact with the wall, coming high out of 4.
Well, I was just warming up. I guess I was fortunate that we weren't at full speed.
The rest of the session is busy as teams test their setups for race day. When the checkered flag falls, a now familiar name sits on top of the speed charts.
It's getting serious here. It's Friday. I've been here all month ramping up to this.
IndyCar practice is followed by a new addition to Carb Day, the 3rd annual Futaba Freedom 100 with the Menards Infiniti Pro Series cars. The ladder series to the Indy Racing League gives these drivers invaluable racing experience in their quest to drive in the Indy 500.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Here comes Kamara. He and Travis Gregg will bring them into the green flag. We've got Jay Drake, though. It looks like moving to the inside, maybe a bit of a jump. That was Cunningham, who got a big-time jump at the start.
They fan out, try to go 4 wide to set up a 3. Don't quite get that done.
Wade Cunningham in the 1 car. That is Kamara. They head into turn number 1 in front of Jerry Baker.
And Kamara got that lead back, Mike. He goes right down to the white line. He will take the lead with Cunningham falling into second in turn 2.
Here comes John Herb. The battle for the lead across the yard of bricks. Less than a half a car length separates Kamara and Herb into turn number 1.
Herb will take the inside. Herb will take the lead.
It looks like Kamara's going to try to go right back to the front. Jerry Baker in turn number 1.
He's going to get the job done, Mike. It is indeed Kamara into turn 2.
Off of turn number 4 for the final time here this afternoon. The restart. And there's the checkered flag. Jaime Kamara has won the race.
Jaime Kamara celebrates with mentor Tony Kanaan in victory lane. But Tony's got more work to do as the action moves from the track to the pits for the 29th annual Checkers Rallies Pit Stop Competition.
Everybody's going crazy here today at the Speedway, so that's cool to see. It's the busiest I've seen for a long time, so that's good.
Did you guys see that? Dan Wheldon saying you fans are getting a little crazy this afternoon.
The crowd is rocking as Sam Hornish Jr. and the Team Penske crew knock off Brian Hurtis and Andretti Green crew in the final round.
These guys do an awesome job. They've been practicing so hard. They like to come out here and show what they can do too, and they do a great job.
The last time a Penske car won the pit stop competition was 2002 with Helio Castroneves. Could it be another checkered flag omen? The clock is ticking down toward the green flag. With 1 day to go, the drivers gather for a public drivers meeting and get their final race day instructions from Indy Racing League President Brian Barnhart.
All 11 rows will be on the front straightaway, keeping their distance between each rows, and we will execute the safe start going into turn 1.
The 500 Festival Parade through downtown Indianapolis is the last official celebration before these 33 drivers vie for their spot on the Borg-Warner Trophy. Could it be reigning IndyCar champion Tony Kanaan looking to be the second driver in a row to win from the pole? Or teammate Dan Wheldon, red hot after winning 3 of the first 4 races of the season? No one's more eager than Sam Hornish Jr. starting his 6th 500. While teammate Helio Castroneves covets a 3rd Indy win. 2 more former winners, Kenny Brack and Buddy Lazier, pilot rides capable of victory. And the eyes of the nation are on the 4th female driver to start the Indy 500. Danica Patrick's greatest achievement tomorrow might be her ability to stay focused in the hard glare of the media spotlight.
It's draining, there's no doubt. I mean, there's been days where I, feel like, what am I doing, or how can I do this?
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
charge down this 5/8 mile straightaway, the 89th Indy 500. Reggie Miller will wave the green flag, and we're underway. A great start there, 3 wide, heading to turn number 1.
The early pace is furious as Sam Hornish Jr. and Tony Kanaan swap the lead back and forth for the first 10 laps.
Clear behind.
Behind them is a hungry pack of drivers fighting for position.
The battle now, Jerry Baker for second place. Sam Hornish Jr. trying to hold off Dario Franchitti.
Franchitti will take the inside route and make that pass, Mike. They've got a lot of passes being made right down here at this first corner. Franchitti's in second right now.
Dario Franchitti up to second, pulling away from Sam Hornish Jr. And now he sets his sights on the leader, his teammate Tony Kanaan down the backstretch.
Rookie Danica Patrick proves a quick study at the tremendous pace. After losing ground at the start, she works her way back to the front.
Elio Castroneves trying to hold off Danica Patrick.
Outside, 2 outside, 2 outside, 1 outside, clear.
Crash in the corner, crash in turn 1.
We saw a great evasive piece of driving by Elio Castroneves and several drivers who dove to the inside to avoid that incident. Danica Patrick, another one who just did miss this race car.
With over half a fuel run under their belts, nobody up front can afford to pass up the chance for fuel, tires, and for many, badly needed wing and chassis adjustments. The race moves to pit road.
Who's going to be the first out under yellow? This is crucial right here. Tony Kanaan with an incredible pit stop. Kanaan is in and out in a hurry. A lickety split.
Off of turn number 4, will complete 25 of 200 laps this time by. The leader is Tony Kanaan. Dario Franchitti runs second. Here comes Danica Patrick. She runs third and goes to the inside. Jerry Baker. Franchitti has the lead.
For just a moment, she wanted to make a move. She will not get it done. It will be Franchitti out in front of the second turn.
It's lap 26, and Kanaan finds himself chasing teammate Dario Franchitti. Farther back, Danica Patrick feels the heat from a wily Indy veteran.
Buddy Lazier has bumped his way to 4th. There's Patrick in the short chute.
Boy, Buddy Lazier just took Danica Patrick to school.
Kanaan shuffles his teammate to second. But as the track stays green, back markers become part of the racing reality.
And Sam Hornish Jr. with a dicey move takes the lead. He goes to the inside and gets around the AGR cars.
While the action has been furious for the first 50 laps, one driver quietly begins making his presence felt.
Mark James, you have been keeping your eye on Dan Wheldon in that Jim Beam car.
Yeah, he was in a nice battle with Elio Castroneves and Scott Sharp for that 8th, 9th, and 10th position. He worked his way around Elio in the short chute in the north end a couple of laps ago. Car handling very well in traffic. I still think Dan Wheldon, your series points leader, will be effective before this day is done.
A quarter of the way to the checkered, and the race is running at close to record pace. On lap 56, the leaders start cycling through green flag pit stops, and a very different kind of Indy 500 history is made.
Danica Patrick is in the number 1 position.
Dan Wheldon has raced his way into the top 10. His green flag pit stop is picture perfect as he continues his steady climb through the running order.
Sam Hornish Jr. is the leader, and he is on rails right now. Last time by at 225.678 miles an hour in the number 6 Marlboro Team Penske Toyota-powered Dallara.
With pit stops complete, leader Sam Hornish Jr. sets a blistering pace, stretching out to a 3-second lead over Tony Kanaan by lap 70. This historic day is shaping up like a walk in the park for the talented driver from Defiance, Ohio. But a lot can happen in 500 miles.
We got a problem in turn 2. Let's go to Adam Alexander.
A spin coming through turn number 2. It appeared to be the Bruno Junqueira machine. He lost it coming off the short chute, spun it into the outside wall, slid off the turn 2 banking, and now is sending it to the entrance to the back straightaway. Problems for Junqueira. Lap 77 in the 89th running of the Indianapolis 500.
Bruno Junqueira's tangle with A.J. Foyt IV brings out the second caution of the day and forces a lengthy cleanup. Junqueira earns a trip to Methodist Hospital while Foyt limps home to his pit.
We see all of the leaders come down pit lane. Let's go very quickly to Nicole Mansky. She is waiting on the Dan Wheldon machine.
It appears as though they were making a 4-tire change. The car is running with them, taking on fuel, and that appears to be it. He will be out in just a matter of seconds.
Sam Hornish Jr. is in. They made no changes this time. He is away in 8 seconds, and he will beat everybody on the pit road.
Oh no, Danica Patrick problems. That machine appears to have stalled. They're losing lots of time.
Indy's fastest rookie sits powerless in her pit as the rest of the field roars by.
She has lots of work to do now.
We're going to see her ability come to the fore, obviously.
Danica Patrick falls all the way back to 16th.
Wheldon calls back to size up his situation.
We're at P6. This pit lane is bloody slippery. So what's the next norm?
We're back to green flag racing. Sam Hornish Jr. trying to hold off the 33 of Briscoe. That's a lap car, but it looks like Dario Franchitti will make a move in one.
Well, Briscoe is going to lead that little pack, but it's still going to be, just as you pointed out, Mike, Briscoe trying to get his lap back in turn 2.
Briscoe makes a valiant effort to get back on the lead lap. This is no back marker, and it adds to Hornish's challenge to maintain his lead.
What is he doing? Now Tony Kanaan looks to the inside. Coming down the straightaway, he is battling Sam Hornish Jr.
So as they run behind the lap car of Briscoe, here comes Tony Kanaan looking to the inside of leader Sam Hornish Jr. in turn number 1.
Amidst the action, one former 500 champion Cinderella story ends with little fanfare in the pits.
There's something wrong with the post on my car, guys. I don't know what it is.
So one of the great stories of this month of May comes to an end. Kenny Breck is climbing out of his car.
Back on the track, Hornish clears Briscoe and tries to separate himself from his pursuers. Farther back, Dan Wheldon is snaking through the pack.
Some great action, Mark James. Heading into turn 3, we're keeping our eye on Dan Wheldon.
Vitor Mira slips around Richie Hearn. Dan Wheldon trying to join that pack, get through that lap traffic, and get back up toward the front. Wheldon currently running in the 6th position.
As the race approaches the halfway point, it's deja vu as pole sitter Kanaan retakes the lead and Scott Sharp blows by Franchitti to put the starting front row back in place to pace the field. As they cross the halfway point, Hornish makes his move.
But here's Sam Hornish Jr. He will try to lead. Lap number 100, will he do it in near dead heat as they cross the line? It is Kanaan literally by inches, but Hornish, Jerry Baker, will get him in 1.
Sam Hornish took the lead, Mike, and he is stomping on it right now. Big lead over Kanaan in turn 2.
You have to wonder how he was ever running second.
Sam Hornish Jr. and Tony Kanaan have been the class of the field so far.
Inside, you're clear.
The action slows on lap 114 for contact between Richie Hearn and Scott Dixon. When the green flag drops on lap 120, things really start heating up.
Field coming out of turn 4, and the leader right now, Sam Hornish Jr., but they're spreading out. Tony Kanaan's going to the inside, and Kanaan's got help. He makes the move. Kanaan. Sam Hornish Jr. is going to slide all the way back to 3rd.
Here comes that 26 car of Dan Wheldon. He scoots around Scott Sharp. He'll grab 5th.
Dan Wheldon has now made his way around Vitor Mira, Cristaneri.
In 4, 3 of the top 4 from Andretti Green. It's Kanaan, Franchitti, then Hornish, and on the move is Dan Wheldon.
Dario Franchitti going to go to the inside of the 11 car. It's Franchitti. He's got the edge in 1.
I think, Mike, this may be the first time he's led the day, but if not, he is swabbed out. He is pulled out in front of the battles for second.
Dario Franchitti to the point and stretching away.
Dan Wheldon having quite a battle with Sam Hornish Jr. for 3rd. They're side by side. South end of the track. Oh, so close. Look at that racing.
By lap 128, Andretti Green Racing holds the top 3 positions, and Dan Wheldon is running some of the fastest laps of the race. Farther back in 13th, Danica Patrick is fighting her own car to get back what she gave up after stalling in the pits.
Close call for Danica Patrick and Koski Matsura on the racetrack. Very close call.
Good hang on.
The race enters its final chapter, and everybody turns it up a notch.
Got a challenge for the lead again. Dario makes a move, so he goes to the inside. Franchitti takes the lead on lap 135. Look at all the traffic in turn 1. 3 wide, almost 4 wide. 3 wide now over in turn 2. Keep it on Danica Patrick. That car looking pretty loose on the track. Watching that car wiggling quite a bit out there. Watch that 16 car. She's 11th right now. 11th.
No one's holding back now. Every driver is looking for an advantage, running right to the edge.
Oh, and watch Sebastian Bourdais and Sam Hornish Jr., Jerry Baker side by side in one.
And they almost touch Mike in the apex turn, and they do! Knocked against the outside wall, Sam Hornish hits it hard, pulls up in two, hits it again!
His promising day is done.
Is he okay? Is he okay there?
After a dominating day, Sam Hornish's dream of Indy victory will have to wait another year. But Hornish's departure opens the door for new players to take the stage.
Wheldon just now comes to a stop. Turtle in front of him. It's fuel all around. Right side tires for Wheldon. Looks like left side tires as well now. Holding on the fuel nozzle. They spray him with water and he's away. A very quick 9-second stop. Dan Wheldon got out first, followed by Vitor Mira. A great stop for the 2016.
With over 3/4 of the race in the record book, all 6 rookies are still on the course. But that's about to change as Danica Patrick continues her star-crossed day.
Keep tight. Green. Danica, you alright? Hit this lap. Tires and fuel first, finish that. Then we're looking at a front nose.
Patrick's miscue ends the day for fellow rookie Jeff Bucknam. And 2/3 of the Panther racing effort, as parts of Thomas Schechter and Tomasz Inga's cars lay scattered across the North Chute. Patrick's quick duck into the pits for repairs earns a penalty stop a few laps later.
All right, super easy on the fuel there. Nice job. We're going to try and do it without stopping. We're doing some calculating here.
What has been an all-out assault now turns into a race of fuel conservation for 3 drivers, as Helio Castroneves and Brian Herta join Patrick in the fuel mileage gamble. While they hang back, the dogfight up front is rejoined as the green flag flies on lap 162.
Wheldon, Mira, Franchitti, and Bourdais. It's going to be Mira as he moves to the inside. Here comes Kanaan as well. A great battle in turn number 1.
There's a half a dozen cars battling for one spot. Vitor Mira will take the lead. Mira will lead the field into turn 2. They're too wide.
Here comes Wheldon. Dan Wheldon across the yard, breaks to the inside of Mira in 1.
Will have the lead. Mira was out for second. Franchitti runs third. That's the way they go with these corners.
Now the battle is on for third. Sebastian Bourdais to the inside of Dario Franchitti. Can't complete the move. He tucks back in line, but it's Dan Wheldon pulling away. He's on the point in Indianapolis.
No one is giving an inch. But as the incredible pace continues, the cars that gambled on fuel mileage can only hope for a break.
A yellow flag on the course.
It's the 24 car of Roger Yasukawa.
With 28 laps left, the pit strategies multiply.
We're thinking about staying out. Stay out. Copy.
Castroneves abandons his conservation run and joins most of the field for a splash of fuel to make it to the end. Wheldon and Kanaan decide to trade track position for fresh rubber. Out on the track, all the strategies have conspired to write another page in the Indianapolis 500 history book.
We mentioned the charm life. Danica Patrick is shown your leader with 173 of 200 laps complete.
This may work out here. Everybody say a prayer. We haven't stopped all day.
For a moment, all is right with the world. Danica Patrick leading the Indianapolis 500.
Danica Patrick across the yard of bricks. 15 car lengths separates her from second place Brian Herta.
Nobody's sitting here at number 1 and number 2, and Patrick gets crushed out into that second turn.
Fans going nuts.
But Danica's fairy tale day is far from over. There's plenty of heat behind her.
Herta will dispose of Briscoe this time by. Here comes Herta trying to chase down Danica.
You may keep your eye on Dan Wheldon. He's the man on the move. If he can get around Ryan Briscoe, the lap car, he could be moving to the front.
Will we see history made here this afternoon? Unbelievable. 182 of 200 laps are complete. 18 laps away. Danica Patrick, 23 years old from Roscoe, Illinois. She is looking to make history here this afternoon.
Wheldon tried to make a run. He looked to the low side of Herta. He got him this time. Dan Wheldon moves into second place. Sets his sights on Danica Patrick.
Ever since she took the lead, Danica Patrick has been smooth and consistent. Can she maintain it? Now Wheldon looked to go inside out of turn 4. Now he's right on Patrick's tail.
Here comes Dan Wheldon to the inside of Danica Patrick, side by side as they cross the yard of brakes. Dan Wheldon, the leader at 1.
Yellow flag. Wheldon has the lead into turn 2.
The late yellow could be the brake Patrick needs to race full out to the end. She checks her fuel status with engineer Ray Lito.
Restart, am I going to be able to use overtake?
Absolutely. I want you to save a little bit of fuel. Just if Dan starts pulling away, you can go with him.
You got a good push set of tires on your still. So lever in 1 and go for the doctor. 10. Sure.
190 of 200 laps will be complete this time by Danica Patrick going side by side with Wheldon. She'll be the leader in turn number 1.
Oh my goodness, there's 3 wide, but Patrick's got the lead. Mira has jumped up to third. Danica Patrick up front of the 500.
Crowd standing and cheering Danica Patrick. She takes the lead off of turn number 2.
Fans on their feet, pumping fists in the air. Danica Patrick makes the way through 3.
Patrick is close enough to smell victory, but she's no match for a hard-charging Dan Wheldon running full rich with new tires.
Wheldon takes a peek, decides wiser of it, cuts right into the tire track, already back in the short chute the north end.
About a 2-car length lead for the rookie out of Roscoe, Illinois, Danica Patrick, about 2 cars ahead of Dan Wheldon down the front straightaway.
Amberton English, Dan Wheldon. He's going to move to the inside of the Roscoe, Illinois native. They're side by side. Wheldon will try to take the lead into 1.
He will get the job done. Wheldon puts out to the white line. Now Patrick's going to play catch-up.
With that, Dan Wheldon starts driving toward the history books.
Dan Wheldon really starting to stretch it out now. Has about a 15-car length advantage. Patrick's going to have her hands full with Vitor Mira.
Vitor's starting to get around now. He's 2 cars back. If he gets a run, you let him go. I'm really close on fuel here.
Dan Wheldon flexing his muscles with more to go in Indianapolis.
Sebastian Bourdais slams the wall hard into turn number 3.
White flag is out, and Dan Wheldon is going to win the Indianapolis 500-mile race under yellow. For much of the late stages of this race, it has been the Dan and Danica show, but it will be Dan Wheldon winning the 89th Indy 500 as an Englishman will roll into victory lane at the world's greatest race course for the first time in 4 decades.
That's the chicken you see in front of you, pal. You ready to drink some milk? That's the boy. Guys, I'm not emotional, but I'm crying. I can't believe I just won the Indianapolis 500. I am so proud of you guys. I'm quiet, and I'm never quiet.
The donut shop is open. He is putting on a show for the fans.
Car owner Michael Andretti savors the win that has eluded him for so long as a driver.
Yeah, I haven't soaked it up yet. I'm still not sure I'm awake.
I still can't believe it. I mean, it's an unbelievable experience. It is like a dream come true, but having that Indianapolis 500 champion right by your name is special, real special to me. I've never enjoyed the taste of milk so much in my life, and I'll never forget what it tasted like. This is the Indianapolis 500. It's the best race in the world.